All right, you guys, so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is, it's a little after 7:30. I am gonna go ahead and get started. I got a little message from Mary, but I think that was wrong. Debbie's watching. Debbie, how are you? Janine, how are you? Do you have your, yes, you have your tea as well. Awesome. Tracy with a Y. Abby's here. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. All right, all right. We're going to go ahead and get started. And if you have any questions along the way, hi, Ronell. How are you? You can drop them in the comments. I will see them come through the feed, or I can address them at the end as well if I don't catch them. So I will try to get through all of your questions. Just a heads up on this. Tonight is going to be just a little bit longer. I just want to provide a little bit of information about metabolism because I think it is just so misunderstood. There's just so much information out there. And it's hard to really know like what's true and what's false. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit more explanation, a little bit more groundwork tonight, but then tomorrow and the following day are going to be a little bit shorter videos for you. So just so you have that heads up as well. All right. All right, so hello and welcome. A lot of you joining now know who I am, but if you don't, I'm going to do a shorter introduction of myself. We do have a lot of people that are new to this group and new to the page, so welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight on day one of the Metabolism Reset Challenge. All right, my name is Amanda Liptak. I am a virtual registered dietitian, nutritionist, and mindset coach. I've been a dietitian for 20 years and I absolutely love what I do because I get to help all of you ditch restrictive diets and lose the weight for good. And a big part of that, like losing the weight for a good piece, is actually done by learning to take the proper steps to heal our body from metabolic damage that's caused by years of restrictive dieting. And this is exactly what I'm going to share with you in the next 3 days. Is I'm going to take you through the exact steps to move away from diets that set you up to fail over and over and over again, and help you set the foundation to heal your metabolism so that you can begin to lose the weight and keep that weight off for good. All right. So again, thank you for joining. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. If I can't get to them as I'm going through my teaching today, I will address them at the end. All right, so Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2022. Can you believe it? It kind of sounds really strange to say 2022 when you say it out loud. Hey Kim, how are you? Thanks for joining. Over Christmas break, I was watching with my son Landon. We were watching Back to the Future, the movie, with Michael J. Fox, and I felt pretty old watching that movie with him. But we were talking about how, like, when I was a kid, like in the 80s, like we really thought that, like in the year 2000 or 2010, 2020, right? Like we were gonna have like flying saucers and like hoverboards and like all these crazy things, right? It was kind of be like the Jetsons, all right? And of course we know now, living in 2022, that we don't have any of those things, right? We may have also thought the same about advancements in weight loss and metabolism. Perhaps we imagined that it would all be easier by now. Perhaps we imagined that you know, the science would advance so far that they would produce some type of like magic dust that you know, sprinkle over yourself like a fairy, and like poof, your metabolism is healed and we never have to worry about that again, right? Well, the truth is that we don't have flying saucers, and we don't have hoverboards, and we don't have a magic fix to our metabolism. But what we do have is knowledge. And knowledge is power, my friends. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is that knowledge to empower you, to give you the resources that you need, that you can start to heal your metabolism and you can start to change. All right. So I'm going to provide you with the same level of insight that I share with my one-on-one coaching clients, and also inside my group courses, so that you can begin to understand 3 things tonight. One is how you got here. You know, it's a question I get asked a lot of time. how did I get here? It's likely one of two pathways, all right? Number two is we're going to talk about like what actually happens when metabolism slows down, when it breaks down, when it becomes damaged, and what does that mean? And the third thing is we're going to explore how we can begin to fix it, how we can begin to heal metabolism and move forward in a healthier way. It's a new year. We're all coming to the table wanting new answers and a new beginning to do things differently, right? To live life more healthfully. This information is going to give you what you're looking for in the realm of metabolism, all right? So each of you have traveled to this place. We're all traveling at different journeys. Our paths all look different. But at the end of our path, we're all feeling the same. And we're all feeling stuck in our weight loss, or stuck when it comes to metabolism, and confused. And so that is a commonality that we all, rest assured, can share. Some of you have reached out to me before the training and said that you're facing certain medical conditions that is making it impossible for you to drop the pounds. Other people have come to the table and expressed to me that they're frustrated because they feel like they're doing all the things, right? But they're not seeing the changes in their physical body to reflect all the work that they're putting in. So either way, if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, if your weight is plateaued, if you can't move your weight, then this training is absolutely for you. I'm so excited to share with you all these secrets. So how did we get here? If we're stuck and our weight has plateaued, how did we get here? Well, it comes from a couple things that aren't communicating clearly. Now, listen, follow along here. Listen to what I have to say, because we're going to play the game telephone. If you've ever played telephone, you know that when you first recite the message on the telephone, you're on the end, that the end person receives the message totally different than the story that you originally told, right? Well, when our systems aren't talking to each other, that's what happened. It becomes a bad game of telephone. And there's three systems that are involved in this process. In particular, when we look at the metabolic pathways, let me explain what this means to you. Three systems that are involved in the communication needed for optimal metabolism. One is the nervous system. So think brain. Two is endocrine. So think adrenals, thyroid, and reproductive. And the third one is immune. All right, so we have those three things happening. We have the nervous system, we have the endocrine, and we have the immune. When they play the game of telephone, and the pathways become unclear, right? Something happens in the pathways where they start to miss part of the message and they don't communicate clearly to each other. The story doesn't translate from point A to point B to point C to point D. That's an analogy that you can carry with you to really simplify this process, because that's literally what is happening. All of these systems require that they're talking to each other. You got to remember that the system is dynamic. Your body's dynamic, right? And things play into each other. Nothing works alone, all right? So that's kind of what we call metabolic damage. When these systems don't talk and you have that break in communication, you have metabolic damage. That's technically what that means when we say that. So who gets metabolic damage? Like, how do you get it? Like, how does this even happen? We know we're stuck. We know we can't lose weight, but like, how did it happen? Like, how did we get to this point, right? One of two ways. It happens one of two ways, all right? Metabolic damage can either happen to you or you create it unknowingly, all right? It's a behavior that actually you facilitate. It happens because of something that you did. So let's look at the first scenario when we talk about it happens to you. This is normally some type of like unidentified or undiagnosed metabolic condition. I'm going to use the example of thyroid just because so many people have dysfunctional thyroid. It could be just low fat thyroid. It could be Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune form of thyroid dysfunction. All right. This negatively impacts other systems in the body. Again, systems coexist. They're codependent on each other. So where one area is broken, another area cannot receive communication. So it starts to break down the pathway and people can't talk to each other, right? Just like as I described above, but it's a metabolic condition. Normally, and Abby actually called this out, it happens when you have an event. Normally this happens when you have an event. So even if you have a predisposition or genetic predisposition to autoimmune, for example, an episode that's high stress, high cortisol, like episode, like someone passing away or a sick person you're taking care of, or a stressful work event, or a pandemic, for instance, right? You have an event that opens up the pathway, that lets your guards down, that allows for this to come into play, and then poof, we have a situation. So it could be an unidentified metabolic condition, something happening to you, right? That's number one. Number two is when you create it. This happens with chronic dieting. So when we have a yo-yo diet situation where we are engaging in a restrictive diet, we're losing a lot of weight, fast and furious, and then we're gaining the weight back again, and that yo-yo effect puts a lot of pressure on the body. We eat less, exercise more mentality. The body's too low in calories and too high in energy output, then we can create metabolic dysfunction just by yo-yo dieting over and over and over. The thing happens where normally it's one of these two pathways, but then sometimes the two kind of play into each other. What I see commonly in my practice is sometimes people become so stressed out and concerned over the fact that they can't lose weight with a metabolic condition, and they diet and drive their metabolic markers even farther into the toilet. So this is definitely very important information for you to create that awareness of why it's so important that you stop the dieting cycle and adopt a more sustainable way to weight loss. All right. So I want to talk about and call out the scenario for the dieting when we create it. All right. Tell me if this sounds familiar. All right. So again, say you have a condition such as like thyroid, and it's very difficult for you to lose weight. Your weight is very resistant. You're not seeing change. You feel like you're doing all the things. You're not seeing any change. So you're going to try everything that you can to lose weight so that it's possible for you. So you start tracking your calories, say like in an app like MyFitnessPal or something like that, which automatically, by the way, sets it to like 1,200 calories. And you start to like increase your exercise because you know that you have to be in a calorie deficit. You want to work out more, you want to burn more, right? But you start to then think, well, maybe I should cut carbs. So then you start to restrict your carbohydrates. You stop drinking alcohol, very restrictive diet. While you may see some initial weight loss, your weight plateaus pretty quickly, and you don't know why. So you do a more restrictive type of diet, right? You tell yourself you're just not motivated enough, you don't have enough willpower, or you like to eat too much food, right? You like to eat food too much, right? Which is something that a lot of people tell me, I can't lose weight just because I like to eat a lot. I like to eat a lot too, but you got to remember, when the body's metabolism is working properly, it will burn what you're eating, right? So, but what our thought process is that we're not doing enough, all right? And so what happens is maybe we'll add an extra day of exercise because we feel like we're not doing enough. So the results are staying stuck, staying plateaued, but we become mentally and physically exhausted, right? So we're kind of like on this merry-go-round where we just can't get off, and we're trying to do all the things, be all the things, and we're starting to really stress out about the situation. What is happening is this type of like chronic dietary restriction is crushing your metabolism, and the body was never built to do that. The body was actually never designed to be in a caloric deficit for a long period of time. It was not designed to start the process for a caloric deficit over and over again. In other words, when you lose weight and you gain it, you go back on a diet, you gain it back, you go back on a diet. It was never designed to be that efficient in caloric deficit, right? So what you do is you train your body to burn less calories on less food. And that means that your resting metabolic rate, what it actually takes for you to like burn calories when you're just sitting there breathing and trying to exist in the world, decreases, and it becomes very minimal and very efficient. And we call this adaptation or acclimation of metabolism. So the body is adapting to the new metabolic rate to keep you alive because it's actually a survival mechanism that is coming into play. The body's super smart. Adaptation happens pretty quickly if caloric deficit is A, happening for too long of a period, and B, happening in a drop that is at a rate the body cannot respond to. All right, so I love my colleague's analogy on this. She has a great analogy to kind of lay this out of how the body adapts. So listen to the story. She tells the story of when you're brushing your teeth. So say you're brushing your teeth, you're getting out your toothbrush, you have the toothpaste, and you realize you're at the end of your tube of toothpaste and you need to ration the toothpaste because you can't get to the store for another couple days, and this toothpaste has to last you because you cannot go into work with bad breath, right? So we need to definitely ration the toothpaste, but we have to make do with less resources, and so we do that. And we adapt, baby. We acclimate to the resources that we have in the toothpaste to use for brushing our teeth, right? It's as simple as that. Like, we make that adjustment. The body makes the adjustment really quickly once it recognizes that it needs to. It recognizes that it needs to, right? So it adapts. But the good news is that even though the body adapts quickly, we can do the things necessary to retrain the body to heal from that. We can teach the body how to utilize calories more efficiently over time, and we can teach the body how to burn energy at a better, more efficient rate. The goal here, the very first step, the very goal here is to increase resting metabolic rate. That is what you want to do first and foremost. It's not hit the gym, kill yourself, add another day, do a double, an exercise class with less resources and less fuel on board. That will actually put you further behind where you want to be. All right. So let's talk about it. What we're going to do. Knowledge is power. Let's help you rebuilding right now. So we learned what, we learned how, we learned why, and now we're going to learn like what we are going to do to start to heal. Step number 1. All right. We're going to devise a plan. I want you to think about this. We're going to build a house. I want you to rebuild your house, right? Because the house you're living in isn't supporting you really well. So we're going to take the steps we need to rebuild that. So pay attention to this analogy. Think about building a house, like a brand new house, in the framework, like you're rebuilding your metabolism. What do you do first when you build a house? Anybody? Let me know. I'll tell you. You build the foundation, right? You're not going to put up the walls if you don't have a foundation to put the walls up to. And you're not going to lay the carpet if you don't have windows installed in your house, right? You got to lay that foundation. First things first, you got to walk before you run. Super important with our health as well. We have to do things in order. So we have to lay that foundation. Now, the number one thing that we need to do is get rid of mindset blocks that interfere with laying the foundation, because we don't want them to come into play. We have to let go of a certain way of thinking when we're rebuilding metabolism, because in the process of dieting, our mind and our body became disconnected, right? Our mind says one thing and our body saying another, all right? So we have to kind of bring that back in. We have to reel it back in. We have to let go of the mindset that there's one missing piece. There's one magic ticket. There's one smoking gun. That is going to be the answer to all our prayers. That is going to fix our metabolic problem, because it's not. I hate to burst your bubble, but it's not. This is one thing that I really work so hard on educating my clients about. We talk all the time about this in session or in class. That magic ticket doesn't exist. Unfortunately, this is not the Polar Express. All right. So, but we can need to let go of those certain things that we feel like we need in this process. Let's call them out. You may have felt in the past or are feeling right now like you need a detox and a cleanse. I just need to cleanse my body of all the junk that I ate over the holidays. We need to start fresh, all these things, right? Let me tell you something. In my 20-year career as a dietitian and seeing people in this realm, I have only seen probably less than 5 people actually legitimately need a detox, and it was done under the supervision of a physician. So we have organs, and they are responsible for clearing out all the junk that we need. And if you want them to work properly, guess what you need to do first? You need to stop dieting. So when the body's healthy, it will clear, it will detox, and you can do those things naturally with food. All right, that's something that we talk a lot about in an upcoming course that I have that I'm offering. Secondly is superfoods. Guys, I hate this term. I gotta tell you, the reason I don't like it is because all foods can be superfoods. It just depends on what you're utilizing that food for, in what combination, when you're capitalizing on that food, right? Like foods work, and vitamins and minerals work in synergy, which means that they work together. They don't work alone. That's how the body works, right? It is all interconnected. So all foods can be superfoods, right? So we should not hold one food on a pedestal above another. That gets us in the mindset that, again, there's just that one thing that's going to fix all our problems, and it's really not, right? 3, collagen. This is a super, super hot topic right now and continues to be a super hot topic. There is so much about collagen that we are that we just still yet need to discover, but collagen might not actually be even addressing the area of the body that you're taking it for. A lot of people are taking collagen, and not to digress, but and for hair, skin, and nails, but you know, if you need collagen to heal a wound, that's where it's going to go first. It's going to go first to the part of the body that needs that repair, not necessarily what you need to take it for. Can it be useful? Yes. Do I feel like a lot of people are taking it and probably wasting their money? Yes. All right. But in weight loss, it's not going to help our cause. And we can't count it as a protein because it is missing the essential amino acid tryptophan. If you go and you look, even all through that tricky marketing, you'll see all 9 essential amino acids listed on your collagen, and you'll see tryptophan is 0. And so we don't have a complete protein. All right. So matcha tea, powdered greens, all these things, right? Can they be useful? Is there some research around metabolism in green tea? There is, however, only in somebody who has a metabolism that is highly functioning and properly nourished. So if your metabolism is healed, there's little that is going to do for you. Turmeric, great for inflammation. Absolutely love this spice. Great way to add flavor to your plate. But only like 2 or 3 manufacturers right now on the market are selling an active form of curcumin, which is the active form in turmeric, that can be efficiently absorbed by the body. So a lot of those other things that you're taking, you actually are wasting your money on. So we need to let go of these things. We need to let go. Detoxes and cleanses, superfoods, collagen, teas, powders, turmeric, all right? Can some of these things help you in your health journey if you utilize them in the right way at the right time? Maybe. They absolutely can. That would be more of an individual thing. But as far as like a smoking gun, like this is going to ignite your metabolism, those things don't exist. Here are the things that do. And here are the things that you need to know to rebuild the foundation to your house. If you don't have a pen and paper, you're going to want to grab one. And just so you know, I am going to provide a document. I will drop it here inside the feed. It's a PDF. You can look at it, print it out, and a little checklist to help you kind of keep track of this first step of the challenge. So we'll do that after I get off, okay? Well, the first one is getting your Z's. The average adult needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I know I need at least 8 hours, or literally I am a bear. So getting sleep is so important because your metabolism actually repairs during different parts of your sleep. And your body repairs, your cell repairs. Think about like babies, like our little kids, like, you know, when they were babies, and I remember my son asking my mom about when we were visiting our nephew when he was first born, and why do babies sleep all the time, Grandma? And my mom said, well, that's when they grow. It's like, yes, that's when we grow, right? That's when we do cell repair. That's when we replenish, when we literally plug ourselves into the outlet and recharge. Metabolism is a huge part of that. So get your sleep. If you're having trouble getting your sleep, then you need to look at the reasons why your sleep could be possibly disrupted and address that, because it's very important in metabolism. Secondly is hydration. A lot of the times people are mistaking hydration, like thirst, for hunger. And so they're really thirsty, but they're not getting enough hydration. And so they're going to food thinking that they're hungry. And so this can kind of confuse those hunger signals with the thirst signals, and our cells need hydrated. We need hydration, right? And so we want to make sure that we're getting a half to a third of our actual body weight in fluid ounces every day. Third thing we want to do to lay that foundation is actually answer the call to hunger. Answer the call to hunger. This is physical hunger, just generally speaking. And we don't want to wait to send another email. We don't want to wait to finish, doing the dishes or taking the dog for a walk or whatever it is that's going to put us out of that window where we're really feeling strong signals to eat. Okay, so answer the call to hunger. Don't put it off. When people are going like 6, 7, 8 hours in between meals, and we're going to talk a lot about this tomorrow, that is disrupting your blood sugar control. That is impacting blood sugar control. When you bottom out of blood sugar control, if you don't have good blood sugar control throughout the day, you're going to have a very hard time losing weight. And you're going to have a very hard time maintaining that. And you're going to be packing on the pounds, more easily down the road. So you have to answer the call to hunger. I cannot stress how important this is to start to create this awareness. This last one is getting a variety of nutrients. A lot of people come to me and say, Amanda, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to meal prep. I don't have time to prepare food. I don't have time to eat. You need to make time because your body needs you. Your body needs you. And the people you love in your life need you. And it's like putting on the oxygen mask, right? What do you do when you go on an airplane? Of course, a lot of us aren't flying now, but when you went on an airplane before, what do you typically do? They go through the whole spiel. The flight attendants tell you the emergency landing protocol, and it's always put your oxygen mask on, adults before your kids, right? Okay, getting a variety of nutrients, feeding your body in a variety of ways is like really giving yourself a burst of oxygen. Variety has been studied. There was just a huge study that came out on this that is really giving you diverse gut microbiome, which is our gut environment, and it adds to beneficial bacteria. So if you're getting a variety of foods, you're getting more pre and pro biotic fibers. That's going to feed your gut. That having a good, healthy gut is good for metabolism, right? That's one of the stepping stones that we need. And so we don't want to eat the same things every day just because it's easy. You need diversity in your diet. And in order to heal, you need to bridge the gap in those nutrients that have been missing. So chances are that if you may have nutrient deficiencies if you've been in a metabolic deficit for a really long time. And you're going to need to eat a variety of foods to bring that back up. And there's nothing that supplements can do if you actually aren't eating a certain level of food. Remember, vitamins and minerals are dynamic. They're synergistic. They work together in synergy. They don't work alone. So you need a base level of nutrients of real food on board, even if you're supplementing. All right, so don't feel like, well, I don't need that. I could take a lot of supplements. Well, your supplements need your food, and your food needs your supplements. Okay, they work together. All right, so let's recap. Sleep, hydrating the cells, answering that call to physical hunger. Do not go in between a long time in between meals without eating, and getting a variety on your plate to create nutritional diversity. All right, these are the things that set the foundation. These are the things that help you prep your body to burn more at rest. Remember, when we repair metabolism, our first goal should be repairing the resting metabolic rate. These things you may think as self-care. Maybe you've seen them on IG or other people saying they're self-care. These things aren't self-care. These things are required care. This is what the body needs to work optimally, to work efficiently. They're required care. So why don't you change that terminology? These things are non-negotiables, all right? All of these things will help you move out of the stressed out state. You can't be stressed out and have high cortisol 24/7, expect your metabolism to work for you. It won't. It won't. The goal is to start to burn calories. The goal is not to burn the candle at both ends, all right? When my clients lay these foundations, when they stay consistent in these, they tend to these things, it makes step 2 and step 3 that I'm going to teach you tomorrow and the day after so much more impactful, because tomorrow we're going to talk about food tips and specific things that you can do with foods to keep in mind, create that awareness, but they will mean very little if you don't pay attention to these things that I'm telling you today, okay? Or this is building blocks. We're laying the foundation. That's why I call this a foundational challenge, because it's 3 days long, right? So what are you going to do in 3 days? Or I'm not going to be like, poof, after 3 days, our metabolism is rebuilt and we're all healed, right? We're laying the foundation, which means that you need to continue to create awareness about these things and stay consistent over a period of time. Dieting, again, if you get frustrated, remember this. Dieting, again, will only push your progress back even further, right? So that's not a place that we want to go anymore. We have to come from a place of healing, okay? And that's extremely important in order to do this. So I want you to remember all of these. I am going to take questions here at the end. Also, I'm going to drop just a little handout that kind of like calls out the things that I want you to pay attention to for step 1 of the challenge. And then there's a little tracker at the bottom if you so choose to use it. So I will upload that here in a little bit. I hope that this created some awareness for you. I hope that this gave you a lot of insight into how metabolism works. I know we were only here with each other for a little bit. I don't want to keep you too much longer, but remember, tomorrow is the foodie tip. Tomorrow I'll be on at 12 noon, not 7:30, but the recording will be here inside the event, so you can catch it anytime that's convenient for you, okay? All right, you guys, it's been a pleasure. Let me just go through here and see if anyone has any questions. If you have a question, drop it down. All right. Jennifer, Gail, Lauren. Hi, how are you guys? Haley, Sophia, so nice to see you guys. All right, you guys, do you have any questions? Lauren said this is her hardest thing. What were you referring to, Lauren? All right, guys, if you don't have anything else, if you have a question that pops up, or if you think of something, just drop it in the feed inside the event and I'll be sure to answer it for you. Oh, Lauren says waiting too long to eat. Yeah, for sure. Definitely need to bridge the gap in that time. It will definitely help you have more energy. We won't need that coffee in the afternoon, that kind of feeling, right? Tracy says the only way to melt fat is through keto. I'm told. You're funny. You're so funny, Tracy. If you want to do keto, this is not the group for you. So you probably figured that out by now, right? Yes. So are you guys, it's been fantastic. I'm so appreciative that you joined me live tonight. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope that you found this information useful. I will see you tomorrow for step 2, and then we'll go from there. All right. Have a good night.